there, WOW friends. Happy New Year. So great to be back with you. I can't wait for the weeks ahead, weeks, months, years ahead, continuing to share everything that is wow and wonderful about life and yoga and everything in between. For today, I just thought I would pop in with a few of my favorite things that I like to do at the beginning of a new year. They're really simple, they don't take much effort, and best of all, they're free. So the first thing I want you to think about doing is to do a little review of the year that was. Now I know some of you may have done that already. It's a practice that I know a few go through at the wind up, at the end of the year, or that nice little break period in between Christmas and New Year. But if you haven't done it yet, I do suggest taking half an hour or so in the next week, particularly before you get my email next week with a few more tips to move into the new year, and to check in with the year that was. Now, it doesn't have to be looking at it at a big grand scale of all those things you'd hoped you'd do and you didn't, or those big successes, those big achievements. I suggest you get a little bit into the detail. And I was inspired with this practice by zenhabits.com, and Leo, the writer there, he actually suggests you do things like reviewing your travel receipts. So you might have an email file that you store all your travel itineraries and receipts, or you might review your calendar and notice, some of the smaller trips you took as well as the big trips. You could look at your credit card statements and see on there any interesting purchases, where you are directing your resources is always an interesting thing to investigate. You might look at accounts like your Amazon account or your iTunes account and see what you've been reading and listening to, music, podcasts, online seminars, all of that. You might do things like going into your desktop, and you can the files that you've created, you can go and choose the option of the date they were created by and look at the files that you created last year in terms of some big pieces of work that you were perhaps creating. And all of that combined can just create a really interesting story for what you learned, what you created, people you spent a lot of time with, what you experienced in terms of some little milestones, and also give you a picture of where you've been directing your energy and attention and resources, and then make some decisions about that for the year ahead. So there might be that you notice there were some things in there that you perhaps did but really kind of resisted doing, or it felt quite heavy when you review it. You might notice some things in there that you're like, hey, that didn't really work for me so well, so I'm going to approach it differently this year. Some things that kind of bore you or you get a bit tired thinking about, some things that you might want to stop doing when you consider the year ahead. And also, of course, because we love to celebrating all those good things that did work and those things that lit you up, that you really want to recognize as being foundational for moving into 2016. So, as a little recap there, check through email files, check through your calendars, old journal entries, credit card statements, get a nice rounded picture of your year, then answer some key questions. What worked for me? What didn't work for me? What did I do that felt heavy, or what did I do that I resisted? And then in relation to that, what do I want to stop doing? What dreams have I let die? And then in relation to that, what dreams would I like to resurrect again? What would I like to round off and wrap up as that was that? I can let go of it and start out from clear space. And then as we think about moving in with clear space, what are some of the things that I would like to start directing my energy and attention to, perhaps that were neglected last year, that I know on a daily basis would really light me up? It could be people, hobbies, creative pursuits, ways in which you approach your work, ways in which you approach your finances. I'm not going to get you to really narrow down into little buckets right now. We'll look at some of those big pieces next week. But just to start to riff and journal and write. That was your year, and now moving into clear space for 2016. So that's the first thing I'd like you to have a go at doing. The second thing, again with the idea of creating some clear space for ourselves, is to do a bit of a detox. And I'm not talking about an alcohol detox, I'm not talking about a sugar detox, all those things might be grand things for you to explore doing, but I'm talking about a digital detox. And this has been huge for me, and I wouldn't suggest that I'm addicted to being on my devices, but I do feel like there's a lot of energetic space that is taken up by things that I do online. Now, some of them I obviously love and devote my energy and attention to, things like this. There are other things that I think I could definitely let go of, or at least reshape my relationship to it. So 2 things that I just did yesterday. One was deactivated my accounts from my mobile phone. So I haven't quite got to the stage where I've deactivated all my social networks. I have 2 that I'm still on, Facebook and Instagram, but I've deactivated them from my mobile device. So while I still have those accounts, I have to make a really conscious choice about logging into them, sitting down on a laptop, carving out time to be really purposeful and mindful and aware as to the time that I'm spending on them and the why. Why am I doing that? To catch up with a friend that I haven't spoken to in a while, or to talk about things that I've got coming up in terms of a business point of view, or whatever the case may be. I'm really clear and present with it. I'm not just kind of mindlessly flicking through feeds when I could be really directing my attention to something that is worthwhile and progressive for where I want to be. So that was the first one. The second one is clearing out my email, clearing out my inbox. Now, I know a lot of you are like me, where we're kind of hungry for inspiration and tips and life hacks, and I'm the type of person that reads 4 books all at once, and it might be anywhere from a non-fiction through to the latest spiritual book through to the latest fiction book. And so when it comes to my email, that kind of life enthusiasm is there as well, but it just then gets to a point where it's like screeds and screeds and screeds and screeds and screeds of emails that I haven't got to, and some I'll file away and hope that I'll get to again, but others are just there and they're just filling up space, and they don't need to be filling up space. So what I've decided to do is go to a website called unroll.me, so unroll.me, and you can go in there, enter in your email address, and don't worry, it's totally kosher. You can go in there and the security is fine. I promise. And you enter in your email address, you give it permission to then do a scan of your inbox, and it will tell you how many emails you're subscribed to, and then it will give you a list of all those emails. So to my surprise, I was subscribed to 94 different email providers or services or newsletters and the like. 94. I kind of thought I was somewhere in the realm of 40, but I was subscribed to 94 different pieces that were coming in, whether it be daily, weekly, monthly. And so what I then went and did is, through that list, you can make a choice to stay subscribed, to unsubscribe, or to put it in what they call a roll up. So where you can stay in relationship with that email and the person that's sending it, but you get it in a form where all of those emails are rolled up into one. So I went through my list, I culled it down to just 10 that I'm subscribed to where they individually appear in my inbox, and I've got about 25 different people, different email providers, that are then rolled up into one email that I get every evening. So then I can make a conscious choice to go into that email that's sent from unroll.me and then have a little scan through those people to see what they've got to say that day. So it's not that I'm going to have screens of emails there overwhelming me sitting in my inbox and sometimes feeling guilty because I don't get to them. But I will be making a conscious choice every day to check in with those people that I still want to have a relationship with, and it can be a relationship that's on my terms. I think that's pretty cool. So it's unroll.me. Go check that out. Obviously, I am one of those people that are sending you emails, so it might be that you decide to roll me up and you can come and check in with what I'm doing once a week or once a month. I do hope you stay subscribed. And just on that note, I do appreciate that I am in your inbox once a week, and that can sometimes feel a lot. And I know I appear in your inbox on a Monday too, which can also feel like it's a lot when there's a lot of things coming your way on a Monday. So I just want, as a side note, to let you know that I'm thinking of some other creative ways in which we can stay in relationship together in a way that feels easeful and fluid for you, that is a free resource, and that you can engage in the best way possible. So I'm coming up with some monthly ideas as well, just as a side note. So you have that one, unroll me, create some digital space for yourself. And then the last thing I would like to address, super simple, as I know we're in the sphere of thinking about New Year's resolutions, intentions, goals, aspirations. I just want to list 5 things that you can get on with that don't require much of your time, that don't cost the earth, well, they don't cost anything, and from my personal experience can have the biggest impact exponentially in regards to everything else that will come your way and everything else that we'll start to work on together in the next few weeks. These 5 things will have the biggest impact. Number 1, laugh every day. Simple as that. Laugh every day. Find reasons to smile and ways to laugh. Number 2, sleep. And I can't emphasize this enough, and I know I get it. There are so many challenges, and it's, one of my big things with the practice is to offer you ways to stress less, to relax, and to have better night's sleep. But just for this little bit, have the intention to sleep more. The first hour of your day sets you up for everything, and that first hour is directly impacted by the quality of your sleep. So just start to consider how you could eke out a little bit more sleep for yourself, and really consider your evening routine to set you up for a real drool on the pillow night's sleep. Whether it be going to bed earlier, putting your devices away earlier, or some kind of nighttime ritual. I cannot emphasize it enough. Think about it, pre-plan it the evening before, and start to get it in a habit and a routine to sleep more. Number 3, and I know you know this about me already, and it comes through in all the teachings. Slow down. As much as you can, practice presence. And that can be in the way of single tasking instead of multitasking. It can be in the way of doing your breathing practices that I've been encouraging you to do. Setting your alarm for 5 intervals throughout the day to stop, to plant your feet on the earth and take 3 conscious breaths. It can be in the way in which you slow down your yoga practice or your meditation practice. Slow down the pace in which you walk to work. Slow down the way in which you engage in conversations. And even meditate. And there's lots of meditation tools coming up in the area here as well. Number 4. This is an interesting one, and we'll probably talk more about it, but I'm going to keep it brief, but perhaps potent for you to think about this. Be diet agnostic. And this is a big one this time of year as we start to think about whether we've put on weight or how we feel sluggish and tired and all these other things that come from what you eat. My proposal to you is to keep it really simple. The simpler and the more accessible it is, the more it'll feel good and the more you'll stick to it. And so by agnostic, I mean, don't get caught up in the latest thing, that quick fix that will help you shift weight and have more energy. I'm really borrowing from Michael Pollan here. He says the most magnificent thing is the key message that I stick to time and time again. Eat real food, not too much, mostly vegetables. Simple as that. Unless you're chronically unwell, and I get that, I've been there, and we have some really special needs. Keep it simple. Eat real foods, those packet things that have more than 3 ingredients, and perhaps stay away from those. Not too much, mostly vegetables. The idea that you can crowd out some of those treats and some of those, perhaps energy sucking foods. You can crowd it out with the energy giving foods, the vitalizing foods like vegetables. So you're not focusing on lack, you're giving yourself more. And that little message there is what I would call being diet agnostic. You're not going down the track of I must only eat this, and this food is villainized, and this is the only superfood, and this is this, and this, and this, and this, and you can feel the cells of your body, and you get stressed about every time you put an item of food in your mouth. Let that go, be diet agnostic. Keep it simple, keep it accessible, keep it real. And then the last one, what I'm doing right this very moment, express gratitude and thanks daily. I've talked about this a lot. I have practices on this, and I will have more practices on this because it is so rich, it is so potent. Practice gratitude daily. So that's all from me. You have a few things to play around with, doing the review of your year and journaling on some of those questions. You have the digital detox, and you have my 5 foundational ways of showing up in life, if you like. Laughing, sleeping, slowing down, not getting caught up on diets, and practicing gratitude. It could be as simple as that. So, from me to you, everything that is available to us, within us, as us, around us, all this richness, all this beauty that we are going to play and delight in 2016, I thank you. Until next time, namaste.